Recently, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Catholic Church celebrated being placed on the National Register of Historic Places at a Prima Dominica Mass, held every first Sunday of the month.
On behalf of History Colorado, which administers the National Register on the behalf of the National Park Service, I'd like to present this plaque to the church, which reads that this property has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of Interior. This church has been listed at the state level of significance, in large part due to its ongoing cultural and traditional significance to the Italian American community.
Thank you.
Today we celebrate not just brick, but also the human hearts. We carry on the heartbeat of our ancestors through our spiritual devotion and cultural events. Thank you, and God bless. 5 years ago, I was suspicious that we weren't on the National Historic Registry. So I started the research and realized that we needed to do something. We worked on this for 2 years, and we revised and we did research. We discovered things that weren't right about the church, but what we mainly discovered that it was worth preserving.
Well, I hope they take away from it the same thing that I took away from the Mass today with Bishop Rodriguez when he talked about the heritage and the hard work and the efforts of the people who built this church really from the ground up. And the thought that, you know, what we have done is just preserve that memory and work to keep that memory alive for our generation and for the generations to follow.
The walls of this church speak Italian. The walls of this church speak the voices of Italian immigrant families. And these walls speak of the generations of Italian families who prayed here, cried here, disputed their tragedies, and celebrated their joys within these walls. In some way, the Italian soul that Colorado never is still beating in this place. This church community should be proud of the beauty of the building, especially of the many, many years of faithful people who, proud of this church and community, have kept the Catholic faith in Jesus and the church and the Italian soul of this community.
It was so much fun learning all the things that were wrong about history of the church, and we were able to correct that. Even the name of the architect, the contractor, they were wrong before. People used to think they were marble statues, and they're not. Things like that. Then when we found out about Tony Marzano and the pictures and where these pictures came from, that, you know, from the time I was a little kid, I wondered where they came from and how they got up there.
As a teenager, Tony Marzano assisted with the artwork on the ceiling, commemorating the founders of the Servite Order.
I was a teenager and an altar boy, served Mass with Father Gaetano and Father Bernetti every day, and when we were doing this, I was part of the project. I cleaned the brushes. My part was climbing up and down because I had young legs, he was a little older. It's on a canvas, and there were 15 of them. They arrived from Italy, and then as we put them up, pasted, Father Gaetano did all the stencil work for the various things around the altar. Every time I come in, I look up there and they're still there. So it's got to be God glue.
Parish leaders gathered to share their comments about the historic designation and what it means to the church.
Well, it's an exciting day. You know, it's a culmination of everything everybody's worked hard for. We all have a sense of family here. We all have a connection to this church, and it brought it all together today.
It feels wonderful. I mean, I'm gonna start. What a beautiful day for the church. What a great day.
I see it as kind of a start for other things that we're wanting to do. In conjunction with this, we've been looking at trying to get the neighborhood in Navajo designated as Little Italy of Denver because of the history of not only the church but the families and everybody's families. And the bishop summed it up perfectly, when he said we have to continue the history of the next 100 years to our grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
Well, I have to start going back to the 7 Servite fathers who established the order of Servites, who served all these years in the church. And from that time to this day, in all those years, says something about not only the Italian immigrant and the resilience of them, but also of our faith.
And we want the young people to be involved in our church as well, so that we're here for another 100 and almost 25 years.
There's many significant milestones in the history of this church. To me, being recognized nationally through this honor is probably the most, in my personal opinion, the most significant milestone. To be out there nationally, it's saying we are Mount Carmel, we are here, we're alive, we're prospering, and we're going to grow.